Hi, my name's Jack. I'm the product manager for Solo. I'm just going to show you the new dashboard we deployed to help support you with your MTD IT clients. So the legislation itself creates an operational challenge for practices in that if we zoom out and look at the macro, there's 2.9 million taxpayers that are going to be mandated to submit quarterly updates to HMRC. So what was once an annual tax reporting cycle becomes a quarterly cadence of data collection, the bookkeeping activities, any checks that need to occur, and client outreach to close any gaps in information that we need to make that submission in time. And that's where that pressure is going to manifest for practices. So to put that into context, if you've got 100 mandated clients, it's 400 new deadlines you need to manage through the tax year. And that's what the dashboard is designed to help you navigate through, to give you a picture of workload and priority for the practice as a whole across these clients, and answer that question of what needs doing next and who owns it. So this is the dashboard. The first thing to mention is each of the entries in the dashboard is an obligation for a quarterly submission for an income source per client, and that's coming directly from HMRC. So once you set up your client and connected them to HMRC, these obligations and their statuses will automatically populate. And it's by default ordered by priority or risk. So you'll have your overdue obligations from prior periods at the top, any due obligations for the next upcoming deadline, which in this scenario is the 7th of February. We also include any submitted obligations for that same period, the 7th of February, so that you can see progress through the work that's required. Once that 7th of February due date passes, any submitted obligations are cleared out of the dashboard to keep it contemporary on work that needs to be managed by the practice. Now, because of the date that this has fallen on, we've also included our Q4 obligations. And that's because the period for which bookkeeping needs to occur and digital records need to be created has been entered. So those Q4 obligations also represent current work that the practice needs to proactively manage to be able to hit that deadline come May. So you're only seeing those contemporary or current pieces of work that need to be done. Now, there's obviously these quick filters here to help you reduce down that list quite quickly, but if we were just to look at this dashboard, the immediate thing that stands out is Kevin is the one with overdue obligations. So I might want to understand Kevin a little bit further and understand the risk that sits below that. So he's got two income sources and we can see all of his obligations here. Now, because these quarterly submissions are cumulative, I know that Q3 should contain all of my income and expenses for Q1 and Q2 as well. So if I were to look at the Q3 obligation for the self-employed business, I can then drill through into the submission window. So this is where we will have our summary totals before we confirm them and send them off to HMRC for a quarterly update. And I can see I've got no business income and no business expenses, which either means we haven't got any records or any data in, or we haven't categorized any of the records that we do have. So in this circumstance, it could be that Kevin is actually a new customer or a new client, and he was not quite up to speed with the MTD IT requirements, so I might need to do some onboarding with him. Now, alternatively, I might be supporting a member of my team who's expressed some concerns about their workload and managing those deadlines, and I can come in here and have a look at the workload from my team member's perspective, and maybe there's a specific business type that they're managing or concerned about. So now I'm looking at John's UK property obligations that he needs to manage for these deadlines for quarterly updates. And I can see actually that we've done a submission for Fiona for her Q3. We've got some due obligations, and actually it's Kevin that's the most acute there. And we've got some Q4 obligations again for Kevin, but also for Fiona's property portfolio. What I might want to do is understand Fiona more around her behavior as a client towards these deadlines. And what I mean by that is if we drill through to the summary view of all the obligations and when they were submitted for this period for this client and their income sources, I can see actually that each submission has been within deadlines, so August, November, and February. So Fiona is obviously a client that is reliable in terms of getting us the information we need to make submissions. And it's worth pointing out that the clients that you can see as a user of the dashboard are defined by your permission. So if you're an admin user, you're going to see all of those clients that are connected to HMRC. If you are a standard user and you've got assigned clients, you'll only see those assigned clients in the dashboard. But really, this is about giving you a simple way to understand current workload and operational demands on your practice from your MTD clients and better understand what sits behind those. Thank you very much for your time, and thanks for watching.